Hey everyone, it's Rita. Welcome to my channel. So for today, I've got something very exciting. As soon as I saw it on the Trend Mood Instagram, I just couldn't resist and I just added to cart right away and ordered it. So as you can tell by the title, it is of course the brand new extension of the Born This Way family from Too Faced. So I've got here the Born This Way The Natural Nudes eyeshadow palette, and we've got the Born This Way Turn Up the Light. So this is a kind of like a three pan palette with three highlights. They call them complexion enhancing highlighting palette. So very beautiful boxes, of course, very cohesive with each other, and of course with the Born This Way family. So first off, let's take a look at the actual box, like the inside of the Turn Up the Light. I've got mine in the shade medium, and they've got 4 different shades, so you can do a light, medium, tan, or deep. And this one retails for $42, and it is available at Ulta at the moment. I'm not sure if they're gonna release it at Sephora. They usually do, but for now you can find it at Ulta. And this is what the actual box looks like. Very hard plastic, very sturdy. I really liked it. I feel like the shape is very interesting, very different from what I've seen in any other brand. And then you open it up and you've got a big mirror, and then you have here the 3 shades, which the middle one is kind of like you can even use this all over your face. I usually like these kind of powders as kind of like my finishing under eye powders. So we've got soft focus right in the middle, then we've got highlights in the shade Glow, and then we've got Dazzle, which is kind of like the more glittery sort of highlight. 3 of them in the gold, kind of like in the gold family. Very beautiful. I've used them of course today on my under eye and as my highlight. As you can tell, my highlight today is on point. It's what I feel is the most exciting part for everyone. It's the eyeshadow palette. So here's what the box looks like. Your typical cardboard box, nothing extraordinary. And then for the actual palette, here we go. It's a beautiful kind of like lighter to darker shade right here of like brown, like nudes, and then darker. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed when I realized that this was cardboard. As you can tell, it's just plain cardboard. It's not the most sturdy, it's also not the worst, but it's, regardless, it's still cardboard. I wish they had done something more of like the highlight palette that was actual plastic. But I mean, some people would think it's better because it weighs nothing, and it's just easier to carry around, and if you travel often, I think it's just, I mean, it is convenient for that side, but I did wish that they had been plastic. But anyway, it has a huge mirror when you open it, as you can tell, and then you can completely fold it up, which is awesome because you can just literally use your palette and then even use this mirror, or just fold it up and then have another mirror in hand and just, you know, kind of like do both. But here is what the palette looks like. Very stunning nude brownish shades, a little bit of pink thrown in there, a little bit of gold, because of course that's kind of like hand in hand with brown shades, nude shades. And there's a couple of shades that have like a little bit of a purple undertone there. But for the most part, very nude, very neutral, very stunning. This palette, I know a lot of people are tired of the neutral shades, but that's what I use. Like on my everyday to go to work, I use brown shades. I don't go for like a bright purple or a blue or green eyeshadow look. So I think this is very convenient for people who maybe don't have a lot of makeup and you're just trying to like start on makeup and you want something easy and something that's gonna kind of like give you everything. This palette has it all. I mean, you've got like your light browns, you've got a little bit of pink, the darker browns. I think it's just very, very stunning. And I love the layout. I feel like it's a very fun, different layout compared to like other palettes. I feel like they did a little bit different, and I do appreciate that. Do I need another nude palette? I need another neutral palette? Definitely not. But this one, I just couldn't resist. And this retails for $45, and you can find it at the moment, I believe, only at Ulta, and I'm pretty sure at the Too Faced website. And I feel like a lot of skin tones would be happy with this palette, because it has a good variety, and at least the shades that I used today, which is of course the look that I'm wearing today on my eyes, were very pigmented and the mattes are just very soft and buttery. I really did like that. The shimmers are a bit more of like a little bit chunkier, but not in a bad way. They have a little bit of texture, so it's kind of like a good mix in between. I feel like a shimmering shade and a little bit of glitter kind of like thrown in there, like a more metallic shade. So yeah, anyway, I am going to be showing you a clip with the full swatches on my arm, so the full palette. And first, let's go and take a look at the eye look, how I did this, and then we'll be right back. For the most part, my makeup is almost done. I am just needing at least my base. I only have my bronzer, and I did use two of the Too Faced bronzers, which are some of my very favorite. But for my under eye kind of like brightening powder, I always love to use kind of like the huge one from Wet n Wild. But for today, we're not going to use that one because I want to try something new. Soft Focus I'm going to be using for my under eye. And for that, I'm going to use my usual e.l.f. What is this? Just their small tapered brush. This thing is completely gone of the lettering. So I'm just going to tap off the excess. And I'm going to use this as my under eye powder. I already have powdered my face, so I've already used my my usual Hourglass powder, but I always like to finish up my face with a finishing kind of like more brightening powder, and this is kind of like completely up my alley. I absolutely love finishing powders. And that is just it just kind of like barely left a little bit of shine on my under eye. Yeah. It looks pretty. It's barely noticeable, which is of course the point of this powder. And now for my highlight, there's two of them, the Glow and the Dazzle. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch those two. Let's see which one do I like better. So Glow, it's kind of like a bit more of a light highlight, I would say. Okay, Dazzle. Dazzle seems like, to the touch, it just seems like a little bit, it has some texture in it. So let me show you real quick. That's what both of them look like. This one right here is Dazzle, and then this one is Glow. So I hope the camera picks it up. They look very pretty. I think I'm gonna go for Glow as my highlight, and then maybe I'll add a little bit of extra Dazzle on the very top. So I always like to use my highlight before my blush. I feel like that just gives it a little bit more of a natural finish to the face instead of just kind of like having, I don't know, I feel like it looks better whenever you put the highlight first and then you go in with the blush. So kind of like the highlight just kind of like pops up from within instead of just being too noticeable. So that's just with Glow, and that is very, very pretty. Like, I don't feel like my hand is doing it justice at all. Like, I can tell right here, it's super, super pretty. I really, really like it. And I always like to add just a little bit on my chin, on the tip of my nose, and right here on the very top part. So let's just gonna add a little extra of the Dazzle just to see. We're gonna be like extra highlighted today. So this one right up here, let's just add just a tiny bit to see how it looks. And just on the very top, and this is going to be very shiny, so we're gonna be super highlighted today. Oh wow, yeah, that definitely is a big high shine powder, but very pretty. It actually doesn't feel like anything. Like on my hand, it did feel like a little bit of texture when I was swatching it, but once you put it on your cheeks, it feels very nice. And the middle one, the Soft Focus, it's very, very smooth to the touch, and it's just very soft, like the name would say. It's very soft, and it was just very buttery. As you can tell, it's very, very nice. And then the Glow one also feels like it has a little bit of texture when you touch it, but not that much. It's also very soft. You can tell right there on my finger right there. It's kind of like the highlight. The only one that has a little bit of texture, but it's nothing like chunks of glitter, but it is a little bit textured, is the Dazzle one. And I promise you that the swatching on my finger does not do it justice. So it's gonna be right there. It does not look like that at all on my cheeks. It's very, very stunning powders. I feel the three of them. It's just depending on what kind of like glow you want to go for, but I think that looks. So for the eye look, I just brought you in just a little bit closer, and for a quick look, this is what the palette looks like. I'm going to be inserting some clips of the actual palette swatched in my arm. and in the intro I will probably just show you the palette and you know the box and whatnot. So for starters, I just went on with the shade Swan that's right here in the corner, so the vanilla matte shade, and I just applied this all over my lid. I just started doing that and then I realized I wasn't recording. So yeah, I just went on and did this, and this is definitely a very pigmented shade. This is very pretty. I feel like no matter your skin tone, I think it would still show up because it is very pigmented. And now for my kind of like transition shade, I think I'm gonna go for the shade Nude, which is, you know what, maybe I think I'm gonna go for Seashell. So Seashell right down here, the lighter brown. I'm just gonna use this in one of the Mario brushes. This is the blending one, I believe. Yeah, this is the blending brush. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tap off the excess, and I'm going to start this with windshield wiper motions on my eyes. This has kind of like a pink undertone, and it is just it's very pigmented, and it's just going on very smooth on my eyelids. Now I'm gonna jump for a little bit of a darker, still brown shade. I'm gonna go for Maple down here, which is a beautiful camel shade. I'm always so repetitive about this, but these are my favorite kind of browns, kind of like the camel shades. Ugh, my favorite kind of browns. I'm just gonna tap off the excess, and I'm going to start building this again into my crease, and then just kind of like keeping it a little bit closer on my crease, like a little bit more down than the other shade that I used first. And just like the first shade, this is very pigmented and super smooth, and just it's being very easy to blend, which is always a good thing. For all over my lid, I'm gonna use the shade Sparkling Sand, and I'm going to just use my finger for this because fingers, I feel like they're always the best application when eyeshadows, like kind of like more shimmering shades. So I'm just going to start pressing this into my eyelid. Okay, the name was a little misleading. I thought it was gonna be more of like a brownish, like a light brown, but it is kind of like more of like a very light pink shade, which I did not want to go for a pink look, but I mean, oh well. It's still very pretty, and as you can tell, it's very shiny. Super pretty. So let's just go on with my other finger. These colors are just stunning. Now I'm gonna go back into Maple, so the camel brown right here, and with the same brush that I've been using, I'm gonna tap off the excess, and I'm just going to start blending this again into my crease, just to make sure we don't have any harsh lines. This is such a beautiful shade. I think it's gonna be my favorite shade in the palette. But I'm just a boring person, and I always like the same colors. I'm gonna run that same shade Maple on my lower lashes. I'm gonna use this little Echo Tools brush, and I'm just going to blend this right down here. I think I want to go for a bit more of a darker outer V, so I am gonna go into the shade Sugared Chestnut. So this one right down here, it's kind of like a darker shimmering brown. It's not the darkest one because there's another one called Sparkling Sable up here, which is the darkest shimmering one. But I feel like that has a bit of a more purple undertone. So again, I wanted to kind of like keep it in the browns family. So now I'm just going to use the same brush on the other end, and I'm going to start building this into my outer V right here. On right the external part of my eye. I'm gonna go for the Sugared Chestnut, the kind of like shade that we used on the very external part of the eye. And I'm gonna run this into my lower lashes, but just right on the very external part. So just right here to add a little bit of darkness and to make the look a bit more smoky. So a quick FYI, there is some fallout in these shades, in the shimmering of course, and I'm just using the powder brush to kind of like sweep it away, but there was some fallout on my face. It's already gone, so it doesn't like kind of like stick on your face, but it's still something to be mentioned. And I'm going to finish up this look with a little fall wing line. I'm gonna use the shade Truffle, so that's the darkest brown in the palette. There's actually no black in this palette, which to me it's okay. As long as there's a very dark brown, I think it's perfect to create a fall line, which is my favorite thing to do. So I'll just tap off the excess. To finish up, I'm just going to add the shade Glistening Snow on my inner corners, just to add a little bit of glow, but not too much, I hope. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, that's very pretty. It's like sort of like a little bit of a glittery shade, but not really. Oh, and it has kind of like a pink undertone to it. It's very interesting. To finish up this look, I'm just gonna go apply lots of mascara, and I'm using the Bambi Eye Mascara by L'Oreal. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, so overall thoughts for both of this, the highlight palette and the eyeshadow, I absolutely love them. I mean, honestly, surprise, surprise. Both of them are just what I like in makeup. They're very kind of like classic and very classy in a way. All the shades are just so stunning for your everyday, so easy to work with. The mattes were very pigmented and very easy to blend. Even like the darker ones, like, so this maple was super pigmented, but it was super easy to blend, and I feel like my eye look just came out very, very stunning. Like, this is giving me vibes of how I feel whenever I go for my Charlotte Tilbury quads. Like, I just feel so high-end and luxurious. That's what this eye look is giving me, and I mean, for $45 for all these shades, I mean, you cannot go wrong. The eye look just came out super, super stunning. And yes, of course, it's nothing extraordinary. It's nothing like they didn't reinvent the wheel with these shades, because it's a natural nude palette. So it's your typical browns and pinks, a little bit of gold. But I think this is just perfect for whoever wants just, you know, whoever doesn't do a lot of makeup and just wants something very nude and very natural. I think this is just beautiful. I really, really like it. And again, for $45, you cannot go wrong. I think that price point is really good, especially for the amount of shades you get, and the variety even though it's like a nude natural palette. So yes, for me this is a full 100% yes. I absolutely love it. Do you need it in your collection? Maybe you don't if you have a lot of makeup like I do, and if you have already more than one nude palette. But would it, would it be fun to have in your collection, and would you enjoy it? I think so. I think so for sure, because it is just beautiful. Just to look at it, it's a beautiful palette. The overall look, even though it's very natural, it can still go very smoky and dark, which I really do like. With all this, like this little quad, I think it's awesome for like a more of like a night out look. I think you can definitely achieve that with that. I wanted to go today for something more natural and more in the just brown shade, and I just did smoke out just a little bit my outer eye. And then for the highlights palette, I absolutely love it. I mean, golden highlights are just the way to go for me. They're just my favorite kind of colors in highlights. And this one, the middle one, especially the soft focus, it's just absolutely buttery soft and stunning. This is kind of like an upgrade from my Wet n Wild one, which I use every day, and I absolutely love it. Like I'm gonna keep using it, but this one is also very, very stunning. And I like how you have two different highlights in the same palette, and you can use this one for like overall all over your face, like the middle shade. I always use it for like my for my under eyes, and then I'll throw in a little bit of this in like my forehead. But for the most part, I use the kind of like these kind of shades on my under eyes. And then for my cheeks, you saw that I just kind of like mixed these two. And this one, the Dazzle, this has a little bit of texture. It's not chunky by any means, but it does have some texture, so it's not gonna be like super soft and buttery, because that's not the point of this powder. This is more of like a glittery kind of highlight. But I have it right now on my cheeks, and there is no visible glitter. It's just kind of like extra highlighty, and I really like it. So I did put both of the highlights, and it's still very, very natural without being like overwhelming, like without being like lost on my face, or without being like too chunky glittery, if that makes sense. So yeah, guys, I am super happy with both of these products. I know Too Faced has had a bit of a bad reputation lately. Honestly, don't get this the wrong way, but I could care less. Like, I don't care what the CEO, the president, whatever they're doing with their lives, whatever they're saying, they're not saying, that's up to them. If they're bad people, that's on them. If a company brings out a product that I like and that I'm gonna be excited about, that's what I care for. I mean, it is only makeup. People really need to chill out, especially online, with all the nasty comments and the negativity. I mean, come on. It's just makeup. If you like it, buy it. If you know, then don't buy it. Don't try to like kill the owner, or I don't know. I'm not gonna get into this because there's a lot of drama and controversy around the brand, and I could care less. The same thing whenever it happened with Kat Von D and her brand. Everyone was going crazy and like, oh my god, we're gonna kill you, she's the worst. I mean, who cares? To this day, her liquid lipsticks are my favorite. So anyway, I'm just kind of like moving off topic, nothing to do with this video. But yeah, I absolutely love it. If you think that you need, and I say need, another or a natural nude palette, I think this is awesome, and I think this is going to be super, super good in your collection. If you add it to your collection, even if you have a lot of makeup, or if you had a little bit, I think it's still going to be a very good addition to your makeup collection, as it is going to be for mine. Even though I have a ton of nude shades, I still find this beautiful, and I know I'm gonna use it a lot, especially for my everyday work. I think this is just stunning for that. And for someone who doesn't maybe like a lot of makeup, or doesn't like colorful makeup, I think this is just the way to go. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Like always, I really do appreciate you taking your time to click on my video. I would really appreciate it if you gave a big thumbs up to it. If you want to share it, that'd be awesome. And please subscribe before you leave. I would really appreciate that as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.